Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Quack and Smite League. We are back on another cast for week 2. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be bringing some action to you. Gecko Kujo taking on the Revenants of week number 2. I will be your host for tonight, the jeering of the lamb, the bread loaf himself, and I am joined by the delicious berry toppings.
Berries.
Glad to have you here. It's good to see you out on the cast. We've got an Abyss matchup coming up. It's only week 2, though. Both teams so far 1-0 in their respective sets thus far. So, while you could say it's an undefeated season, one of them is going to lose that streak of 1 tonight. So far, with the bans coming out, Olarun and Sun Wukong taken away by Gecko Kujo, Wailing Banshees will get rid of the Pele and the Aries. What do you expect to see coming out of these top bands and coming out for the first pick here?
I mean, you see these bands are pretty typical bands. All around is just a massive team fight god. There's no way you're diving into sanctified fields. You're just asking to die. Um, I think it's we're just looking at typically what I like to see is you top picking your duo lane. I don't like seeing solo laners being top picked just because it's so easy to play around. But we're still waiting for the bands to come through here.
Just have to see which one they decide to prioritize. There are still a few picks open. Do you expect that we'll end up seeing somebody like, oh, well, there goes the Kamazots and the Giannis, actually. So it looks like that's going to be taken off the table, but I still see Athena being left open. Do you think one of the teams prioritizes that early here?
Um, I think I think it's a really solid pick. Athena's got that. She recently got buffed. She's got the attack speed reduction on our top now as well. Um, so I would love to see an Athena pick. I think that's a phenomenal pick. It's a great setup, especially if you're looking to go something like Asilla.
I have come to cover this land in
Chernobog is a
darkness.
really strong first pick. I'm surprised that wasn't banned.
It seems the other teams decided that Cherno wasn't enough of a threat to ban it out this early, but Wailing Banshee is going to immediately
Wisdom
respond by
shall be
picking
my
up the
shield.
Raijin and the Athena for their top 2 to counteract this Chernobog. Be extra nice to have that attack speed slow for the attack speed stim on Chernos too. So just have to be careful watching out for that over in the dual lane. But now Gecko Kujo, they have 2 picks to round out their top 3 here to counteract what the Wailing Banshees are looking for, which so far to me seems like quite a bit of poke and decent CC. What do you think the Gecko Kujo needs to look for here for that?
You gotta look at the Athena Raijin. It's a very strong top two there. Raijin is probably just the best mid laner in the game right now. Um, yeah, I think you're just looking for hyper aggression in duo lane here. If you're going for that Chernobog, you want your Chernobog just to get up and rolling.
I
Um,
will leave standing no barrier
and
to
SL do
your
that.
success.
The
Going to be a
law
very
returns to
potent
this
counter
land.
dive character with quite a bit of CC, and especially with those Dharmic Pillars, plenty of damage. Ganesh will shut down any dive very quickly, and Tyr, to initiate the dive of his own, dropping that Fearless will make it very difficult for the Wailing Banshee's backline to try and do anything if they get caught in it. But with a nice Rama pickup to round out the top 3, Wailing Banshees have plenty of range and damage for themselves. But now we're left with 2 more bans for each team. Looks like Wailing Banshees are going to go ahead, get rid of the Susano. They don't want to deal with that. Is there
I think
anything else you're
that's
seeing still open?
Daiji is still open. I think that's a pretty strong pick into what the Wailing Banshee's got going on right now. It could also go good into the Chernobog, just being able to force that ult out or force beads out. Um, you know, kind of similar to the Aries that they banned out. So you're gonna
Looks
see
like
a Thor ban. I do like the Thor ban.
Thor is definitely going to be a very potent pick right now, especially having access to that Anvil of Dawn. It's basically just a semi-global ultimate where you can rotate from pretty much one lane almost to another instantly. And with
I
that
am
much
the
CC
sowers
dropping
of
on somebody's
sorrow.
head, it can make it very difficult to try and really do anything in that team fight, especially if you don't have beads available. then it's not going to be a great feeling to be on the receiving end of that. Even if it's from the solo lane, that's still a torrent of damage that, frankly, I wouldn't want either. So definitely have to agree with that. But Wailing Banshees opting to pick up an Izanami on top of their Rama.
Yeah, interesting pickups because like Raijin's definitely going mid, so which means your Izzy's probably going solo. Is that
Death awaits.
That's certainly one possibility. Gecko Kujo going to go ahead and grab their mid laner now, grabbing out the Thoth, who was left open this entire time, as well as going to go ahead and pick up the Thanatos. So now that's two global ultimates with the Hovering Death, as well as Chernobog being able to rotate around the map anywhere. And Wailing Banshee's going to round out their draft with a Bakasura, quite a fair amount of attack speed, so I reckon we'll end up seeing a Shogun's at some point this game from the Athena, but who's to say when we get there? As far as these drafts go, Gekakujo looking for a more traditional one role for one class. Wailing Banshees, they're switching it up a little bit. Which one do you favor more here?
so early mid, I like the Gecko Kujo draft, but if the game goes hyper late, Wailing Band, because you got Aram and ADC, it's not gonna matter if you get tanks or not. And the objectives just say, they don't exist because you've got Aram and an Izzy, and both of them are extremely well at shredding objectives and shredding tanks.
And not to mention, Raijin's going to get quite a fair amount of cooldown reduction from his passive, so his objective damage as a mid laner is nothing to be ignored either, especially the secure from the Taiko drums, having access to both a fear and a taunt. You can actually get some decent secure on those objectives, so if Wailing Banshees have any amount of space and Gecko Kujo does not ward, I shudder to think what is going to happen to those objectives, because it probably will not be a pretty sight for them. As far as Gecko Kujo, though, their dive with Tyr and Thanatos compared to presumably Bakasura and, well, that's really all their dive. Possibly going in on the backline. It'd be interesting to see how those team fights develop. But overall, you talked about early game. Gecko Kujo is going to be a little bit more traditional and solid. Do you think Tyr is going to be able to get that lead to make those changes happen?
I think it doesn't matter what ADC is going to be sitting over in the solo lane. I'm assuming it's an ADC. They're just, if it's Izzy, she can kind of keep up with the clear that Tyr puts out, but if Tyr gets on top of her and she doesn't have her dash, she's just kind of a goner. And Tyr's laning phase is like chef's kiss. You level the 2, you get those fat heals off the minion waves. I think it's really just going to come down to how this Bakasura and Thanatos play, because if you're looking to get your Izzy ahead, or whichever ADC, you got a Bakasura, he can puke on the Tyr. He's going to take away half a Tyr's kit, and Tyr's going to have to ult out.
That is true. That would be a great way to force out that ultimate. The good news for Gecko Kujo, that ultimate is on a very low timer, so it will actually be a little bit of safety, especially if he's able to pick up something like a Breastplate of Valor, go into one of those glyphs. That is a nice 20% CDR for him, and it's definitely going to be feeling a lot better to actually be able to use the Lawbringer to get out of those sticky situations, or even just engage onto the backline. The issue is, I would expect, if not at least a
And very simple
Our voices
team
in.
plan here. Because if the Athena gets the taunt off on the Furballer here, their ADCs are just gonna blow them up, and it's not gonna matter if the tier's gonna have if he goes to engage, even if he's got Spectral and Midgard, I think he just dies. Um, Hyper late game, of course, but they've got to have it. They've got to have it.
It will definitely be a good thing to see once it is picked up, if it is. Hopefully it is. But we'll just have to see how that goes as we get into game number 1. Minions have officially spawned. We're going to see the Gekukujo on the order side. So keep in mind, those are your boys in blue. And let's get into the action.
You know what I'd really like to see? I'd like to see this Thanatos getting involved super early. I want to see that Chernobog getting ahead so he can use that global ult to go anywhere on the map. Ideally, oh, there's the
Blinking from Thanatos going in aggressive, and it will be Destroyer dashing in for the first blood against Cow Killer, already taking a spill 38 seconds in. Gekukujo gets off to a very early start in this game.
This is a Raijin solo.
Raijin is in fact in solo, and unfortunately the mid laner, which is Izanami this time, will go down, and that's not a kill you want to give to the Thanatos. Luckily it is on the assist for him, but he's coming in. Rama does manage to dash away with a nice taunt from Athena to stall out the Thanatos. Scythe will not be on the mark, and luckily they will be able to survive for now. Thanatos still in the area, but about quarter HP, not interested in taking too much more damage. Gonna go ahead and opt to just back off.
A phenomenal taunt from the Athena there.
As Destroyer falls in the mid lane, a nice return kill as Bakasura picks that one up. Yan is just gonna go ahead and consume in true Bakasura fashion.
So your tier is opting for a tier 1 mace with Bluestone. What do you think about that?
That's going to be a lot of extra power for that early game, but not very much defense. Looks like we will see an engagement over the shield buff. Chernobog dashes into the wall to escape some damage. Rom does pick it up. Ganesh Dash not quite on the mark, but here comes Thanatos around the backside, along with the mid laner, both coming in. Does find the route onto Athena. Out Destroyer picks up a second kill of the game. Rama trying to roll away. Still only level 2, and Prod Camp is already gone. So your safety is out the window. Tier does not have access to Blink here. But with Raijin already 3rd HP, going to be able to dash away over the wall to the safety of their tower as Bakasura going to go ahead and steal the back camps for all the trouble his team is receiving over in the left lane.
Yep. I'm not sure how I feel about the invades. The blue invade makes sense here. Early game invades, I don't really feel are worth it for the jungler because it's all about denial. You're not getting the XP, and it's a Thanatos, so he's still going to slap you with his scythe.
Missing XP would still feel bad, though. Thoth does make a rotation over to the solo side, trying to look for some extra damage. Nice Fearless, getting Bakasura very low, doesn't have access to the jump, and it will be a power cleave as Frost takes down the Bakasura. Did steal his blue buff, but he stole his life in return.
This is what we were talking about earlier. The early to mid game definitely going over to the Gekukujo side.
Gekukujo's support is invading solo the purple buff of the enemy team. Meanwhile, the Wailing Banshee's going for the own purple buff of Gekukujo. Chernobog tries to get in there to steal it back, but not going to be successful as both purple buffs fall to each other, but Ganesh got that solo farm. So now the Wailing Banshees are going to be left to go ahead and take the prot camp this time without any scuffle or ganks happening.
Just want to take a second to talk about these Thoth rotations. We're not even 4 minutes into the game. You've already seen a Thoth rotate to duo side and solo side.
It definitely has been a very active mid laner, but here comes Bakasura blinking in, dropping the Regurgitate. Izanami has dropped the portal, and Thoth barely manages to dash around the tower, jumping from Bakasura. Tower trying to do some damage. Giannis does find the kill. Jace Ruby pops in with Hovering Death to secure the return kill onto the enemy jungler. That'll be a nice 1-for-1. As the Thoth now 2-2-2, just over 4 minutes into game number 1.
2-2-2 making, but the Thoth is making a massive impact. You're gonna see Lawbringer come out. He hits the wave.
Doesn't look like too much more after Tyr hits the wave. Unfortunately, not quite enough mana to get too aggressive, but Ganesh going to go ahead and drop the Dharmic Pillars, doing quite a bit of damage. Both of the Wailing Banshees dual lane are going to be under half HP, but ultimates are still available, so Athena is going to back off first. Defender of Olympus is available in case their ADC is in trouble. Both trying to take the Harpies. Bacchus are in the area, but without Regurgitate this time. Both feeling a little bit safer, so Destroyer feels confident. Go ahead and take the camp.
I'm really curious to see how these first couple team fights are going to go over these beacons and your first neutral objective, like a Gold Fury or Pyromancer. Do you think that's something that the Gecko Kujo team is going to be able to properly deal with, or is the two ADCs this early enough in the game enough to deal with that?
Right now, Kujo having a lot of trouble securing their own blue buff, as once again, Bakasur is there hovering Death Pop to try and go for the chase, but they're already under tower, so instead going to go ahead and look for the blue buff. Here is here to make sure it happens, does get a successful blue buff invade. So we've traded purple buffs, now we got to trade blue buffs. But it looks like Wailing Banshee's getting aggressive, blinking Thanatos, trying to run away. Regurgitate does come out, Portal to Underworld is used. Gets a nice silence on 2, but those looking for the root, not quite on the mark, just out of range. Chernobog rotates in, does find a root onto the Bakasur, tried to chase the Izanami. Already quarter HP under tower, but Defender of Olympus is out. And it looks like the Wailing Banshees will be safe underneath their tower for the moment, as Thanatos looking for the red buff, trying to go in. Scythe not on the mark, does find a silence. There won't be enough damage to discourage the Wailing Banshees from taking their own buff. So instead, Thanatos with a Golden Blade is going to go ahead and clear that next totem camp.
So we've seen this. I've seen this type of build come out of Thanatos before. It looks like he's going for the a build very similar to like what the rank 1 Thanatos's build is, and he'll be throwing some crit in there at some point. I'm pretty sure.
It's definitely possible, but normally when you think Thanatos, you think of the damage of his scythe and his abilities in general. So you see something like Jotun's Wrath, followed by a Hydra's Lament very early, as we see a scuffle over this totem camp. Boxer going to jump away. Thoth coming in, Hovering Death popped. Thoth did try and get in, but Boxer blinked away. Hovering Death chasing under the solo tower. Will not be going into tower. That's a little bit too dangerous for Jace Orby, so we'll opt to go ahead and back. But looks like Thanatos going for a lot more attack speed and auto attack based in their build with the golden gooseberries as well. Is that something you would expect to see from a Thanatos jungle?
He's definitely going to be leaning on his 2 for that free pin that Thanatos gets without going in the Jotun tree.
It will definitely be some missing ability damage and pen early on, but looks like Rama falling very low, popped already up into Astral Barrage, but very, very low on the HP. Ganesh does not have Dharmic Pillars, trying to find the stun. It will be Furballer who gets killed, but Regurgitate under tower, trying to do some damage. Beads forced out by Chernobog as he dashes away, trying to escape. Thanatos is coming in to help, and it looks like the support will trade his own life to try and make sure he gets away, but Boxer has just enough damage, and that will be 2 now down for the Gekukucho. As Athena comes in, taunts Thanatos into a lot of damage from the Wailing Banshees, both trying to return some of it to make sure they don't continue under the tower. Without a wave, it looks like Wailing Banshees will go ahead and take the Bastion before looking for some more farms somewhere else.
And it was a really good taunt by the Athena there as well, there towards the end to catch that Thanatos pulling back in, let him take a little bit extra poke. Seeing some more damage over here going on to the red team ADC.
Chernobog does come in with the ultimate to try and help out the team. It looks like Wailing Banshees are going to be able to go ahead, get back to the safety of tower, trying to look for their own purple buff, but a blinking from Thanatos with Dharmic Pillars will help. Jace Orby gets credit for that one. Effective, not so effective in that fight. Athena now getting stunned under tower, rooted by the dashing in Thoth, trying to find Final Judgment, not quite on the mark, and it'll be Furballer who picks up Ryukurg. And now that will be a nice second kill over in the duel, as Gecko Kujo has 4 members there.
The priority from this Gecko Kujo team is definitely to get this Chernobog ahead right now. And Yeah, it seems to be working out in their favor a little bit here. He is a solid level ahead of the Rom.
Doesn't feel nice. Taiko Drum's already down tier, is going to get a nice stun off the Lawbringer, but already too low HP and relatively low on mana as well. Frost will go ahead, back off, leave Bean Soup Bob to go ahead and back. And without TP, Tyr is going to have to spend a little bit more time, but Bakasura is here for that Bastion. I'm going to go ahead and take it back off, just get the nice little gold bumps for the rest of the team. Ticking over to just about 10 minutes now. Once again, Ganesh looking over towards this Rama, coming in to try and get something. Astral Barrage is available. Defender of Olympus already popped. And looks like Effective will be safe this time. So Gekukujo trying to get off a gank, but will be spotted out a little bit too early to get it off.
Not too much poke going on to Izanami there.
Thoth does have the reach of that extra poke, but Thanatos going up into the Hovering Death very early. I'm going to go ahead and use it defensively to just get out, go get some farms somewhere else on the map. Beacon's still a minute and a half away, so it looks like there wasn't really too much to be fighting over. With Tier 1 mid tower being gone, and Wailing Banshees having quite a fair amount of access to just dive with that Bakasura. Looks like they're going to go ahead and opt to just drop it over in the solo lane, as there goes Bakasura dashing in, going to go ahead and drop Regurgitate, trying to do some extra damage. Frost already fallen low, trying to get out. Lawbringer will not be in time. Thanatos now caught with the help of Dharmic Pillars, trying to buy some time, but Thunder Crash, Beam Supab will have Jay Swervy back to the gray screen, now caught under 4. Ganesh, you are in the wrong spot there. Giannis picks up the double kill for the killing spree, as now looks like Wailing Banshees going to go ahead and opt to just go take some more farm, look for Beacon as soon as it spawns, maybe even a Gold Fury if they can get Furballer out of the way.
And we're starting to see the shred come out from those hunters plus the Baka already.
It is quite a fair amount of extra shred, especially when Bakasura already has 10% pen with the Crusher first item. Lawbringer already being used, but Thunder Crash will keep him in place. Elfrost will fall once again to Giannis. This is Bakasura now 6-2-2. One more for a Rampage.
That's gotta feel bad if you're Tyr here. You die, you teleport back in, and then immediately die again.
Hovering Death coming back in to try and get a return kill, but it'll be too much. The 2v1 not good for Jay Swervy. Beansu Bob picks up second kill. And that'll be a nice extra bonus bit of gold for the solo laner on the Wailing Banshees. Meanwhile, Gekukujo gonna go ahead and take the beacon in the mid lane uncontested. Cow Killer not willing to step up into that one.
And Gekukujo just completely lost a little bit of a lead they had. They're actually down by about 1,500 gold now.
Actually looking a little bit closer to 1,700 as the graph shows, but so far it's still relatively even. Less than 2,000 at almost 13 minutes into game number 1. It could be a lot worse given how much action we've seen, and a 6-2 Bakasura when Thanatos had 2 kills very early on in the game. Got plenty of assists, but now 3 levels down compared to the 2-level lead that Gekukujo has in the ADC. Level and a half deficit for Gekukujo over in the solo lane. Mid seem pretty even, but right now, looks like everybody's focusing around this Gold Fury. Oracles are going to go the way of the Wailing Banshees. Thanatos looking to try and get active, does manage to avoid the taunt from the Athena, be able to back away to the safety of their team. And Gekukujo looking to get out. Lawbringer trying to escape from this Raijin, coming in with Thunder Crash. Beans will be used as push under tower with the Fearless Turnabout coming in to try and help, but Raiju does the damage. Beansu Bob gonna be on the killing spree. Thunder Crash to get away. Turnabout trying to chase a little bit farther. Does miss the one little projectile, does find the slow from the one, trying to escape. Thunder Crash getting just farther away, trying to escape as quickly as possible as the red team does pick up the Gold Fury, but Furballer will finally find the kill on the Beansuit Bob for a big shutdown. And that would be an even bigger lead for the Gekukujo's ADC. Meanwhile, the rest of the team picks up the Gold Fury, but Jay Swervy going to go ahead and pick up Cow Killer underneath the Tier 1 tower in mid.
Raijin also losing his beads there. He does get the kill onto the tier, unfortunately. Furballer does get a shutdown kill onto that Raijin.
Not gonna be a great feeling. It will be a Gekukujo Pyromancer, though, with the help of Final Judgment. Defender of Olympus will be used to make sure Giannis can escape. And despite all of that, our gold lead's still very similar, looking a little bit closer to 1,000 than it was a couple minutes ago. And as of right now, the kills being 9 to 10, and really, there's a tower down for mid and solo side on Gekukujo, but the tier 1 tower over in duo lane for the Wailing Banshees, almost the tier 1 over on left side for Gekukujo now as well. It's still a relatively even game state, but with the objective pressure that the Wailing Banshees have, where do you think Gekukujo needs to focus to try and make the return here?
You know, as someone who's playing solo currently, I think at this point, you're just gonna have to let Tier try to do his Tier things over there in solo lane. Focus on continue getting this Chernobog even further ahead, push some towers down, and just look to win through this duo side of the map.
Return comes out. Ganesh dropping the Dharmic Pillars very early into the fight. Already expended, though. Will drop Final Judgment, not finding the kill. Furballer will pick up Cow Killer for the killing spree. Athena forced to dash back under the safety of tower, with effective having to back with a sliver of HP. Elfrost did get picked up over in the solo side with the help of the jungler, but now this tier 2 tower left only defended by a half-health Athena. Minions about to pour in. Gekukujo looking to try and secure this tower, get some damage, get some gold onto their pockets. Be a nice feeling. The Ganesh getting active, trying to do some damage, looking for the pick onto Athena, and Destroyer will have it. Ryukurg will end up falling. They're trying to TP back to the tier 2 to save it from the damage of the Bakasura. Tier 2 tower will fall over in the left side. Gekukujo now going to look to invade a little bit of the chest camp, see what else they can find before they decide to back and spend their money.
I think Gekukujo is looking alright for right now. You still got a lead in several spots. Your ADC's got a lead, your support's got a lead, your mid's got a lead. The only place you're really lacking here is your jungler, unfortunately being 3 levels down. Tier's down a little bit, but you could chalk that up to not being able to farm as well, and let's face it, Tier's been ganked a ton this game. But it is the nature of the beast.
Especially with Tyr having that first item, Jotun's Wrath, not having access to those protections as much is going to mean you fall a little bit earlier. Forced into Hovering Death early is going to be Thanatos from a nice engagement. Athena taunt is going to be good, but Final Judgment, not quite the kill. Jay Swarvy will pick it up, but Regurgitate good to get Jay Swarvy back down. Giannis trying to look for more under the Thoth. Does not have too many teammates here, does have the help of his mid laner, but with Chernobog dashing in from the ultimate, Rama coming in around the backside, trying to force out Thoth, but trying to get some damage. Taiko Drums here to help peel for the teammates as they're trying to retreat. Tyr is here, trying to help for this beacon. Ganesh already less than a quarter, but a nice triple stun, and a beads force out by Raijin, trying to go in. Here comes the Lawbringer, fearless into the death. Furballer picks up Bean Subab. Now the beacon with 4 members of Gekukujo will be going the way of the Order side. Wailing Banshees will not have enough to contest it this time.
Yeah. Sorry, Banshees. I don't care who you are. You're a Raijin. You don't need to be thunder crashing into 3 people there. You kind of just inted and died. And now Gekukujo is going to get a gold fury off of it. But look at the Banshees. They're going for the Fire Giant pull.
They do still have 2 ADCs plus the Bakasura jungle and the Athena there to try and help tank. They're going to have plenty of burn, and it does not look like Gekukujo even knows what's going on. They're rotating over towards Pyromancer, and the Fire Giant is taken by the Wailing Banshees before Pyro even spawned. And all of a sudden, just like that, getting a beacon, getting the Oni Fury, after a nice team fight, and still Gekukujo falling in the deficit on the gold as Pyromancer will be secured by the Wailing Banshees. Dharmic Pillars already used. Chernobog trying to run away from Raijin, running him down. Bean Subab trying to get some damage, but without too many damage items, not going to be doing quite enough to take him out. Going to go ahead and juke a little bit of the damage too, as the rest of the team starts to look for a rotation. Things are not... Go ahead.
It's the power of those 2 ADCs.
Ganesh gonna go ahead and silence Taiko Drums being forced out. Nice double taunt to keep them in place. Regurgitate, keep them in place. Calcula picks up 1 scream already fallen. Tyr trying to escape. Frost will fall to Bean Subab. And now Thoth is left alone with just Jay swerving nearby, trying to escape from the 5-man wipe that was going to be what the Wailing Banshees were going to do. But they do manage to run away. Trying to dash in, Izanami getting active, finds the slow. Chernobog gets stunned out, but Thunder Crush dashes into the wall, trying to escape. But Athena is here, and the ult will not help you now. Effective picks up a kill, finally, onto his enemy ADC. And now 4 members strong pushing down duo lane. Tier 2 tower is going to fall. Wailing Banshee's not done, though. They're looking right at the Phoenix. Just Destroyer left in the area. Now, with Scream back up to try and help defend, Thermic Throws are available. So plenty of damage is ready to drop. You already see Portal dropped. Izanami gonna go ahead and whip the ultimate. Not quite on the mark this time, but that's quite okay. Wailing Banshees, they got what they came for. They already got some kills, got the towers out of the way. I'm gonna go ahead and back off, but it looks like Engage coming in, Hovering Death to try and find Raijin. Will find him, being superb, trying to go in. Will not find success, but Boxer blinking into the backline, trying to get the beads out of the Thanatos, trying to chase him down with the help of Rama. Defender of Olympus coming in to help get some extra movement speed. Regurgitate comes out to try and slow down the tier. And we see barely surviving. Astro Barrage will not be enough to take out J Sorvy, but stuck in the middle of 3. Furballer will be taken down by Cow Killer, though dashing in to try to get just a little bit more damage. So low. Fearless not gonna help. Destroyer will be good for the single kill. Gets the double. Calculator finally falls and looking for the 3rd kill. That is a triple kill for Destroyer, as Effective barely manages to get away.
Destroyer is having a phenomenal game on this Thoth. But you do see the Banshees team doing exactly what the comp's designed to do. Hidden Athena taunt 2 people, and they're just instantly gone.
With that much shred and the consistent damage output from 2 auto attackers plus a Bakasura in the jungle, it's not going to be easy for the tanks of the Gecko Kujo to get in there, especially when their solo laner is missing some wards, but so is the enemy ADC and jungler. Not too many wards coming out from either side, but then again, do you even really need a ward? You already know, if they're on that objective, it's going to be gone by the time Gecko Kujo even gets up to defend it.
If you're Gecko Kujo, you've got to get there before it spawns.
Beats forced out by Raijin, going into the Techo drums after Dark Pillars come out. Hovering Death trying to secure the kill, will not find it, but Destroyer will find his own execute with the help of Final Judgment. Looks like the rest of Wailing Banshees is not going to be in the area code to save their tier 1 tower. So instead they're going to look towards the left side where they see Furballer poking his head out near the Oracles. Does manage to get both of them, but they're more interested in pressing down the lanes. See if they can catch him out backing a little bit early. Looks like most of them are looking towards the left side, but Gold Fury seems to be the call now. And Gecko Kujo wisely recognizing they need to back up, defend their Phoenix. They do not want to let that left Phoenix fall.
Oh man, it's just gone.
Frenzy burned, and that was honestly horrifying to watch. I almost feel bad for that Gold Fury.
That was a lot of damage.
That was almost not even fair to that poor Gold Fury. Pyromancer getting the same treatment from Gecko Kujo this time, with both Thanatos and Ganesh here to make sure it goes down. They'll pick up a 2nd Runic Bomb, 1 for the jungler, 1 for the support now, as the 3rd beacon will finally spawn, and it will be going the way of Gecko Kujo. But with Fire Giant about to be spawning here very shortly, it's going to be coming down that solo side, so both teams are going to have to be careful. If you get that Titan pushed up really far, it could open up the possibility of a Fire Giant. But do you think instead Gecko Kujo is going to look for that split push?
They have a Chernobog. I mean, Chernobog he's outside of Apollo, probably the best split pusher in the game. So the thing is if your Chernobog gets caught out by a Raijin, and yes, Raijin built a hybrid build, but he's also got timeline, and his damage is nothing to scoff at. So if the Chernobog dies, at this point, the game's just over.
It would definitely be a much harder team fight, but looks like Ganesh getting already taunted in the middle, already down to half HP. Izanami tries to find the silence, but Tyr is here to make sure things happen. There goes Dharmic Pillars to try and slow down the Wailing Banshees. Final Judgment almost takes out the Bakasura, dealing almost 1700 damage, but caught in the middle. Jay Sorby will end up falling between 3 of them. Effective getting that one with the Astro Barrage, dashing in to try and take down the Thoth. The rest of the team trying to help, but Tyr is too low to do anything. It looks like both teams are going to need to back with those low HP bars as Titans finally begin pushing down the lanes. But right now, Wailing Banshees do get their back off first and are going to be charging down that lane to catch those Titans. Regin looking to stop the backs, does not find the stop, but does find Verballer. Gonna go ahead and get a little bit of poke his way, but the Titan is the call right now. And right now, Giannis trying to get away from El Frost, but not too worried as the rest of the team is still there. Defender of Olympus available. Order Titan is already sent back home. And that Fire Giant is already being looked at, already getting aggressed on, falling very low, less than half HP already. Frenzy not even popped. Dharmic Pillars to try and come in, stolen away! Gecko Kujo gets it! Psycho Drums trying to get the return as El Frost caught out by the Regurgitate, trying to run away without the Lawbringer. Ganesh will be there to try and peel for the rest of his team. And right now, Wailing Banshees are not in a position to punish. And that'll be a successful Fire Giant steal for the Gecko Kujo with nobody dying for it.
Now if you're Gecko Kujo here, you find yourself in a very good position now. You look at the map state, your map's a little bit worse for wear than the Revenants are, but you still have 3 towers you can take down for gold. I think if you're Gecko Kujo here, you're just looking to play the pick game. Get 1 pick, back off, try to head to an objective. Get 1 pick, and repeat. The problem here is, like, your tier is super squishy right now. He has no hard physical prots at all.
Another thing that's not quite going the way of the Wailing Banshees right now, Athena is level 15. Despite all of the work in those 8 assists, Ryukirk is not feeling too great on the farm game right now. The rest of the team seems to be doing just fine. And with only 17 stacks on that Prophetic, it's really not the best showing for Ryukirk. But to be fair though, the rest of the team has been doing plenty of work on their own. Especially Giannis, dropping all kinds of damage. Beansoup Bob getting into the backline, doing more than enough damage. But he breaks out over in mid lane. Shutterbug taking half of his HP already. Beansoup Bob there, trying to come in with Hovering Death, does find the Athena, gets a lot of damage, but here comes the Thunder Crash. Defender of Olympus coming out onto the right and trying to get in. That'll be Final Judgment popped, as well as the Dharmic Pillars trying to get the return. Nice silence as Izanami goes in with the ult, and that will be a nice 2-pick shutdown onto Destroyer. Finally effective going up into the Astro Barrage. He just forced out of the turnabout trying to run away, but Thunder Crash and Cow Killer will have credit for that kill. And there are just 2 members left for Gecko Kujo. Thanatos will be caught up against the wall, and we will see a pause coming out. Looks like we may have a DC, and indeed we do. J-Sorvy caught out of position from a very unfortunate DC. El Frost, at this rate, might just be left alone to try and defend the base against, looks like 3 members up right now.
I would not want to be this tier right now, man. You know, your whole team's telling you, you can't die, you can't die, you can't die. But then I mean, what are you going to do? The only thing that's saving you from not dying right now is the fact that Athena's not there. And they can't just run in the Phoenix. Let's talk about builds a little bit here for a second, though. On the Revenant side, neither ADC opted to go for that crit build.
Neither of them having any of that crit, instead looking into a little bit more lifesteal. Pause does finally end. J-Sorvy does manage to escape with his life. Lawbringer forced out very early. Fearless not quite on the mark, trying to dash away with the blue stands Fearless. The mid Phoenix will fall, but El Frost will not. Instead forced back to base to heal up, lick his wounds before the inevitable push down the duo lane. But right now, Wailing Banshees seem more interested in going towards that Gold Fury. Athena still doesn't have Defender of Olympus, and Bakasura is still not having that Regurgitate back up just yet. So it's definitely going to be a nice call to go ahead, play safe for a few more seconds, wait for those valuable resources to come back before they inevitably re-engage. And with that much objective burn, because they can't really defend under Titan, where can Gecko Kujo make their defense right now?
They have to make a play in the jungle. Push your push your minions up in mid wave and make a play in the jungle. I think if
It definitely is not going to be made easy, especially with the help of Regurgitate being that AoE cripple field that just so obnoxious for somebody like a Thoth, a Chernobog, and a Tyr who are left very unsafe when they can't dash away. Pyromants are now going to be pulled by the Wailing Banshees. Steal potential, as we see on Judgment being charged. They will steal it. Gecko Kujo gets another runic bomb for himself. Ganesh already having one. Go ahead and pick up a second. He gets taunted in by Athena, taking a fair amount of damage. Here comes Fearless to get a nice double stun with the help of the Dharmic Pillars. Going to get plenty of damage. J-Sword linking in, finds two. Ryokard going down as effective. Gets a return kill on the Furballer over on the left. That will be a solo kill for the ADC. Regurgitate already popped, but Hovering Death will be successful to escape. Tycho Drums forced out by Raijin trying to run away, and it looks like Thanatos is going to be more interested in keeping his life than engaging on that. Effective will be forced to go ahead and back. Bombs dropped on the tier 2 tower. It will fall in the mid lane. But now, it's going to be very dangerous. Tyr looking around the backside. Not going to be blinking in, taking a lot of damage for dashing in. Taking a lot of his HP bar, but Raijin takes a fair amount in return from Destroyer, trying to get some extra poke onto the solo laner. But Beansoup Bob still going to be able to survive, as now Fire Giant is going to be looked at very shortly when it respawns.
I think overall, if you're Gecko Kujo there, you're happy with that trade, though. Get a tower, you get him. If I'm Gecko Kujo, I'm playing the name of the game is kill the tank. The Athena's down, she's level 15, she's only got a couple of items online. You kill the tank, you back up, try to make the Revenants team push in, and punish them as best you can.
Especially since Athena still does not have that prophetic stacked. Definitely not going to be feeling nearly as tanky as they would want. And another thing, Athena still doesn't have that Shogun's Kusari that I was talking about earlier. So 2 ADCs with Silver Branch Bow on your team and no Shoguns. I imagine that's going to be getting picked up here relatively soon, but for now, level 15 is not quite as much farm as the rest of your team. Everybody else already has their finished starters, full build, getting rid of their recipes, got full items. So right now, it seems like despite all of these things being in favor of Gecko Kujo, they can't quite get the engage that they're looking for.
Yeah, unfortunately, with a tier going for that more damage-oriented build, he's not going to be able to find those good engagements that he wants. And I'm going to be completely honest, even if he did, at this point in the game, if he gets Athena taunted, he doesn't have beads. He's gonna have to ult out. But at that point in time, is it enough? Your tier ult takes a half a second to wind up. They've got so much shred on the Revenants team.
Athena dashing in on Ganesh, but coming in with the beard. There is a lot of damage on the screen. Will fall, does drop the Dharmic Pillars, but not going to be doing enough for the team as we see a very clean engage and disengage from the Wailing Banshees. Hovering Death was also used, and now Fire Giant on the table. Frenzy is not available. Gecko Kujo in the area to try and steal, but Tyr does not have access to that ult. He's just going to try it and be a menace to the backline, right? And trying to get a stun. Fire Giant falling very low, less than 5,000 now as they're going to go ahead and drop it. J-Sword picks up one purple, picks up a second. Banshees will get the Fire Giant, but J-Sword picking up a second. Ryokard will end up falling to effective, trying to dash in, though taking a lot of damage. But here comes Chernobog around the backside, and it will be a double kill for effective with the help of the Astral Barrage. Raijin now here to try and get this annoying little ADC out of his face. Aegis will be popped, and a nice stun. Effective will be triple kill, and that will be Fire Giant on 2. The solo in the ADC as El Frost is the only one left alive for the Gecko Kujo.
Luckily for Gecko Kujo, I don't think they can end off that. They've got a Ganesh and a Tyr up. So, silver lining, you guys did a good enough job.
Dharmic Pillars to try and defend the mid Phoenix, but with the help of Tycho Drums, going to stall out the Tyr and Ganesh. Trying to take out the Ganesh. Scream will end up falling. Effective very, very low, but with the help of Beansoup Bob to get some nice CC. Tyr trying to get some extra damage with the help of Phoenix, but effective is already very low, looking to just back off, lifesteal up a little bit, and wait for the team to get in. Right now, with the mid Phoenix down once again, Fire Giant still on 2 for Wailing Banshees, but everybody on Gecko Kujo is going to be respawning. And at this point in the game, the gold advantage that they have, only being a couple thousand, will not mean enough.
This has been a roller coaster of a game. That's for sure.
We will see another pause coming out. This time, it will be right after the Oni Fury getting picked up by the Wailing Banshees. Won't be too long of a pause up, so don't go anywhere. We still
And
have
we
plenty
just-
of action left in game 9.
You see, Tyr, instead of selling the Jotuns and going into a Midgard, he's opted to go into a Heartseeker. Heartseeker is a power scaling item.
It is a power scaling item. The good news is at least Ganesh does have the glyph for Relic Dagger to try and slow down the attack speed, but Tyr's going to be the one diving, and without access to anything to slow down that attack speed. And to be fair though, he does not actually need the Spectral because there is no crit on the enemy team. But the problem is that's still quite a fair amount of damage that you're looking for a lot of damage, but you're still getting bursted down by the enemy team. And now, with Fire Giant still on 2, they're looking to siege up down the left side of the map. Thanatos is over in solo side, Hovering Death already forced. Meanwhile, Yana still has access to that Regurgitate. Wailing Banshee's trying to find something over on the left side. The threat of the Final Judgment will be there, but not going to pop it just yet. Waiting on the wave, Wailing Banshee's going to go ahead and start walking in. Dharmic Pill is dropped very early as comes out with Lawbringer, and a nice Final Judgment will find the second goal with the help of Furballer. Meanwhile, Thanatos trying to run away from the Bakasura. Regurgitate is down, trying to escape. Furballer picks up a second one. Calicula will fall this time. And now Raijin trying to run away. Jace gets the return kill onto Giannis. Beautiful solo kill for the jungler of the Gecko Kujo as Raijin trying to escape. Beansubab trying to keep this Chernobog at bay, but he is continuing to chase him down as the rest of his team pushes up in the mid lane, trying to clear out some of those waves. And it looks like they'll go ahead and drop the chase. The solo laner for the Wailing Banshees may keep his Fire Giant buff, but the
Tyr's
rest of his
plenty
team
healthy.
not.
I'd love to see them just go in, take a Phoenix.
Looks like they're going in on the mid lane bird, trying to get active, but Thanatos is not there to drop his bomb. Tyr instead opting to try and clear Beansubab out of the way. Midbird will fall, so they will have opposing fire minions pushing down, but Hovering Death used not quite on the mark, not quite close enough. Tyr going in with the Lawbringer, taking a lot of damage. Thanatos falling very low. Dharmic Pillars to try and help. Chase River will fall. Beansubab is Titan falling already under half, trying to do some damage, but they're getting forced out. The Wailing Banshees will continue to dive and push them away out of their base as Rama coming in with the help of the Athena taunt. Furballer will stand no match for effective as now Ganesh is left alone, trying to stall for a little bit of time for the rest of the team to escape. And the hunt is now on.
The Major Spell, all she wrote. They've got fire minions pouring in on this Titan.
The solo
And they're not
side
gonna let the
Phoenix
Tyr
is
back.
down. They're trying to stop the Tyr from backing, instead looking to just go ahead and outright kill him, as there's only one Phoenix left alive, and it is just both to clear out those minions, and Tyr will not be able to survive the onslaught of damage. Astro Barrage will be good. Effective finds another, now 10, 3, and 3, as El Frost will be his next victim. Thoth trying to escape, dashing in as the Rama. Effective will find a double kill, make it 11 and 3, as the left bird will fall, and nobody left alive for another 8 seconds, and the Wailing Banshees, with the help of Regurgitate, will take down the Titan and secure game number 1.
There was a lot of back and forth there. Gecko Kujo did make some really solid plays, though. I don't want to sell it short. That Thoth looked amazing. The steals, they had a couple really good steals. They saw a Fire Giant, prolonged the game. They took a Pyromancer, prolonged the game even longer. I think if I'm just looking at this comp, you gotta look at the builds here, man. Just I'm gonna harp on the Tyr. He's not able to engage the way he wants to engage. If you're gonna go that damage route, I think you have to have beads and hope for the all in.
I will say it is a little bit odd seeing that teleport glyph on the Tyr. Not having access to blink and beads is not going to be a great feeling, and unfortunately for Gecko Kujo, it'll be just one of many things that results in a game number 1 loss. But don't you worry, we still have a game 2 to go ahead and cover. There'll be plenty more action coming your way, but we'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back, everybody, to Quack and Smite League Week 2 action coming at you from Abyss Division. Gecko Kujo taking on the Wailing Banshees as the Revenants. We go ahead and start off this set 1-0. So they do still have a nice lead. Gecko Kujo looking to turn that around. So far, we saw a very interesting game number 1. A little bit of a different comp coming out from the Wailing Banshees will be successful as the Revenants do run a double ADC comp. And it looks like both teams are not too happy about that. Athena and Chernobog immediately getting banned away. Gecko Kujo also getting rid of that Olorun. So far, all pretty much to be expected. Can't really blame them for all of those bans. Do you think after game one, they're going to switch up any of those priority bans?
Oh man, I think the Baka's got to go. Uh, Maybe not a top three ban, but the Baka's got to go. He definitely hard carried the early part of the game.
It was definitely a very annoying thing for them to deal with. So I would expect to see at least some sort of response to it, or at least something that can get away from the Bakasura, that doesn't entirely rely on that dash, maybe more CC immunity. Ares, Pele, and Kemazatsu will be the final bans. This time Gecko Kujo picking up that Raijin. Switching it up a bit, do you think we're going to end up seeing that Raijin over in the solo lane again?
I think this Raijin's definitely going mid. Um, I think that Raijin solo was just kind of a we're already going for an off kilter kind of comp, so mix it up some. I think
Oh,
this guy's
no.
definitely going mid though.
Oh no. Revenants, don't lock it in. The Susano Aphrodite both being hovered. Revenants switched to hovering to Sobek. They were very much looking at the E-boy E-girl duo, but it looks like so far they haven't locked it in. Susano could still be a decent option to try and counter out that Raijin, get some extra damage. Nike instead will be picked up as
Oh
Loki will
man,
be locked in for the Revenants. And it looks like we already have a much more aggressive and in your face or behind your back type of dive coming out from the Revenants.
I don't actually hate the Loki into Raijin here. It's really going to depend on what Gecko Kujo pulls out here, because everyone likes to, bash on Loki, but there's one thing you can't say, and late game Loki does one shot. So let's see how that goes.
Especially since there's not going to be that Thoth to drop the final judgment for 1700 on the back of your head this time around. Instead, Gecko Kujo going to go ahead and grab the Yorm, try and counteract some of that early pressure coming up from the Nike. I almost would have expected them to pick up something like an Achilles that could shut down some of that early clear from the Nike, get around that Sentinel of Zeus, and just negate the shield. But looks like instead they're just going to look towards the Sunder route and Hachiman as their ADC.
I agree with you there. I definitely like the Achilles in a Nike matchup, but maybe he's thinking along lines. Well, I got sat on last game, and I'm gonna be going into Chronos Pendant first item. I need something that, like, once I hit 5, I can just get as far away from them as I can.
May not be a bad idea at all, especially since we saw so many blue buff invades. And this time, you're going to have some access to a little bit safer clear, being able to drop those pools from far away. It'll definitely be a little bit easier to fight, especially without that mana sustain. So Gecko Kujo, relatively similar pace to what they had in the last game. Revenant's going to go ahead and pick up the Geb and get rid of that troublesome Ganesh. No more Dharmic Pillars for Gecko Kujo this game.
Yeah, Ganesh definitely one of the more annoying supports to play against, especially if you're a Geb, because he just silences everything you do. You're not rolling out, you're not knocking up. But other than that, I do like the Gecko Kujo comp. The Jormungandr is a question mark for me because I understand the reasoning behind it, but at the same time, I just think an Achilles would have been so much better into this comp they got right now.
It definitely would have made dealing with that Nike a little bit easier in the laning phase. Gecko Kujo, though, still a little bit uncertain about their next picks. Baba Yaga will be the next ban to try and take that out of the mid lane. Since Baba Yaga, especially since she's now unbanned and playable once again, has been a very high priority pick and still continues to be a very valuable and very high pick and ban rate character that it's been that way for quite some time.
I mean, Baba's got a lot of burst. She's got decent secure. She's got double potion. She's got home sweet home for safety. She's got a dash that can go underneath the player made walls. So
Definitely some extra safety, especially being able to survive that much, being a little bit extra tankier Agni will also be banned out as now Revenant's hovering the Hera to go for an extra character on the dive with the Argus.
I would love to see a Hera. I would love it. I don't necessarily think it's the best pick in the game, but I love Hera.
With me, you
Instead, they
all
switch
shall
over to
flourish and
Kernanos.
prosper.
I think they have enough shields as is, so we won't have to deal with that one, or at least Gecko Kujo's dive won't. But now Gecko Kujo has access to 2 more picks. They still have their ADC, presumably solo and mid, unless they decide to do something funky and switch it up on us again. But assuming they need jungler and support, what are you looking at here that's still available?
Take pleasure in the crushing of one's enemies.
Not that.
Tremble beneath the waves.
I like the Umoja. I don't think Robin goes well into this comp at all.
My finest
Um,
creation.
Man, very interesting picks on the Revenant side here. I like Geb. I better see a Sunder come out of Jormungandr at the very minimum. I'd love to see it on Umoja and Geb, or not Geb, but Jormungandr and Umoja, simply for the fact they have double shielding. But we'll just have to see how it goes. Robin's got a decent early game, but what's he gonna do to a Nike and a Geb? Because typically you want to early game you want to go for those either solo ganks or duo ganks, and Geb's kind of difficult to gank into if you're Robin.
Definitely not going to be quite as easy for Gecko Kujo to get those early ganks off, especially since this game they're not going to have access to Hovering Death. So being able to go over those walls is no longer an option. You have to get a lot closer to pop the Mystic Rush. Still though, Gecko Kujo does have quite a bit of range with the help of Hachiman and Raijin, as well as just the poke from Yarm. They have access to plenty of range, they can poke you down from afar, so unless Wailing Banshees get too close, at which point they just become susceptible to Umoja and the River's Rebuke, especially since Umoja does still have that extra anti-shielding, so it may be a little bit easier for them to handle the dive as well. So, I don't know about you, but right now, I'm almost favoring Gecko Kujo draft in the late game.
Oh man, it's difficult to say. How effective is this Nike gonna be at diving? Are we gonna be able to hit the knockup into the Vulcan ults? Are we gonna be Geb blinking in the background for the Vulcan ults? I think on paper I prefer the Nike over Yorm as far as solo lane matchup goes. But I like the Robin over Loki. I think it's gonna the defining factor here is gonna be how well Scream can execute this Umoja.
It's definitely going to be an interesting thing to see how well they play it out, especially because we have plenty of time in this early game. We'll just have to see how well they actually do it when we get into game number 2. This time, Wailing Banshees will still be on the Chaos side. If you're rooting for them, keep an eye over on the red side of things. In the meantime, though, minions are ready to spawn, but instead we get a nice little brief pause to go ahead and get everything set up. We see a little bit of a DC, so it'll just take us a moment before we can get into the action.
So yeah, I think overall I do favor the Gecko Kujo comp. But again, it's gonna come down to how well this Umoja is piloted. Because they don't have a whole lot of pill on the Gecko Kujo team, and they have a lot of dive on the Banshee side.
There would definitely be plenty of opportunities for the Banshees to get some extra damage on the backline, especially since with access to things like Assassinate, Cataclysm, and the Hunt Begins, the ability of the Wailing Banshees to bait out those beads is going to be very effective. But this time, looks like actually Gecko Kujo looking for the triple start over in the duo side. They will be successful in clearing it on time. They're actually going to still be getting to wave first before the Geb and Kernanos, as Geb takes quite a fair amount of damage, but a little bit of a switch up as it over in the duo lane. Kernanos in the mid. And looks like we have a bit of a reversal of roles once again coming out from the Wailing Banshees.
Man, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not a big fan of this Vulcan ADC. Maybe they know something I don't, but I'm just not a fan of it.
It's definitely a bit on the unusual side, as Emoja trying to get a little bit aggressive there. We don't see a first blood in mid this time, but falling very low is going to be Loki. Raijin trying to do some damage. Destroyer looked so good on the Thoth last time. Slightly different get this time, but quite a bit of damage as Bramble Blast coming in to keep Raijin in the damage. Does manage to dash away into tower. Beads not going to be good enough. Cal Killer finding first blood, finds a second onto J Sorvy, and that would be a double for the mid laner on the Wailing Banshees.
I think we just underestimated the damage output, and maybe thought he went one of those traditional jungle starters, but he went Bluestone.
That's going to be a lot of extra damage and a very costly mistake for the Gecko Kujo. 2 kills given up in mid very early, especially with Rob trying to go for that Soul Eater first item, as Revenants do steal the prot camp. Vulcan falling a little bit low, trying to drop the turret. Body blocks from Geb going to help get some extra time, but taking a lot of damage. Geb falling, about quarter HP. Hachiman trying to escape, and it will not be good on the Moonstrike, so will escape as Yorm falling very low to this Nike. Trying to throw some damage, get some health back from that axe, but for right now, just going to have to stay very safe and play about under tower, as Totem will be falling once again to Bean Soup Bob.
Yeah, interesting here. I definitely expected the Yorm to go into Chronos Pendant first. I just, like, it seems to be the... Ever since Yorm came back into the meta, that's what everyone does first.
Mikey getting aggressive for the gank from Ravana, trying to find the disarm, will be successful, finding a lot of damage. Loki going for the poke with the 2, will not find it. Nice knock up from the Yorm as Wild Hug comes out, forced into the boar, but will survive barely under tower as the blue buff gets stolen away. Destroyer trying to make a return happen, but not going to be doing too well in the middle of 3 as the purple buff invade comes out on the other side of the map. Yorm trying to get a knockup for his team as the purple buff invade continues. In the dual lane for the Revenants falling very low. Hachiman finally going to turn his attention back to the purple buff and finally managing to secure it with the help. Vulcan trying to go around the back, drops the turret to catch them out, get some free poke, but already low HP, has to be careful. Does get some extra damage onto the Hachiman. Now about third of his HP, but with the help of Umoja, going to heal that up very quickly. Careful how far you dash up. Beat's going to be forced. Shell being popped as well, trying to escape. Hachiman taking a lot of damage. The meatball going to be good. With some extra, trying to get the kill onto this Vulcan. Falling very low, and it'll be Scream who picks it up under the tower. Kept going the other way, not even looking at his teammate. And that'll be a final return kill. Trying to get the banner, but it will not be enough. Geb's shield will keep him alive as Riker now facing down a big wave underneath his own tower, just waiting for his ADC to come back, and will end up paying the price for staying. Now both of the Gecko Kujo dual lane hitting level 5 a little bit early for their team, as Loki going to go ahead and get active on the Ravana, do some damage, and then run away, because that's not the 1v2 that Giannis is looking for this time.
You definitely don't want to be caught between a Robin and a Raijin as Loki and not have your assassinate available to you.
On the other side, Yorm already forced into the World Serpent to escape from the Bean Soup Bob. Sentinel of Zeus was used, however, so you will have plenty of time to escape. Instead, going to go ahead and look for the blue buff totem falling very low. Watch out for that camp. It's doing a lot of damage. Gonna have to go back, take a cat nap, and reset after that one.
I've pulled that one myself. I'll back up and just grab a camp and then end up dying to Harpy or something and getting just never living it down.
An admission from Barry of getting farmed by NPCs. Very unlucky. What is lucky, however, is going in for a gank. Gecko Kujo trying to get active on the dual lane, but Loki right behind, blinking in, gets a lot of damage. Assassinate already used. Beads will be good from the Hachiman. Does manage to get under tower. Rob forcing them out. Vulcan trying to drop Earthshaker from far away. Will not find the kill, but does go ahead and drop some extra damage onto that Bastion, as now Umoja making his way over. Another blue buff invade for Bean Subab trying to get in there. Blinking in, is Rob going to be caught? But here's River's Rebuke to keep him under tower. Effective is caught, and Scream has the second kill of the game. Now Loki going around the back. Their ADC was left all alone in a 1v2. Furballer falling to Giannis. Now trying to run away, but Robin not too high on mana. Geb does find the escape. Finally able to roll out and get out of there. Loki instead going to go towards mid, going to run right into Destroyer, who's going to try and chase him down. The Invisible is good to buy some time. Reggie not on the mark. Oh, trying to find the jukes, trying to force him under tower, and tower will do the job. Destroyer going to go ahead and pick up a nice free kill for himself, as well as his own red buff.
He grabs the kill there, but you know, if you're Destroyer there, you're not too happy about having to use the Raijin ult for that.
Well, it is still a kill, and at the end of the day, that will be valuable because that denies some extra farm. Speaking of denying farm, looking for another gank onto Vulcan. Yeah, Jutsu off the mark, but will still force the beads in the end anyway, with the help of Yamoja. Furballer got what he came for, so Scream gonna go ahead and back off, let their ADC clear the wave. Looking to try and go around the side, stop the back, but not in time. And for now, that wave is just gonna go under tower, as the Revenants look to find some more farm in mid.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this Vulcan ADC?
It's not having the ideal start that they were looking for, but he's going to have access to being able to stack up that Warlock staff in hopefully a little bit of peace, but if Scream has anything to say about it, not at this rate.
Yeah, I think Scream is as much of a pain in the neck on the enemy team as he is for his own team, just kind of trolling the Robin there a bit earlier.
Did catch a very quick bounce with the Riptide off the blink. Raijin taking a little bit of poke from the mid, but once again, Riker going for that prophetic cloak. Gonna have a little bit of a harder time trying to stack it with the Geb, but once again, Scream getting active in the dual lane. Finds the Riptide, finds the River's Rebuke. Vulcan is caught out, trying to run away. Earthshaker trying to get some return damage, not gonna be good. Backfire to try and run away. Mounted Archer coming in. Scream picks up a third kill, killing spree for the support as Wild Hunt pulled in the mid, not quite on the mark. And Cow Killer will not find the kill on the Destroyer. Meanwhile, 3 over in right. Jace over here to make sure Elfrost gets away. Will not be able to get the totem this time, but with that many people over in solo lane, I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. The prophetic on the Geb is not the easiest thing in the world to stack.
It's definitely going to take a little bit of extra time, and especially last game on the Athena, Rykirk had some difficulty trying to get that stacked up. Was still relatively tanky, but the level deficit was not a great feeling, especially when you're trying to get in there and take so much damage. But right now, the thing I'm looking at, 5-3 on the kills board, Diego Cucho having the 5-3 on the Revenants, but the Revenants actually have the gold lead.
It's the farm, man. They're farming better.
You definitely have some
Speaking
better
of
farming.
farming,
Picks up Frost for a solo kill. Both of them having access to that Breastplate of Valor, but Beansu Bub, despite not having any magical protections except from the tier 2 cloak, will pick up a solo kill. Loki coming around to steal away a green buff from the Gecko Kujo. They try and get there to get the buff, but do not get there in time. It looks like Revenants will find a successful little camp invade, at least for that one. And we'll go ahead back off. There are some wards up around the Gold Fury, but so far no objectives being pulled. Instead, both teams just looking to try and secure some kills and deny some farm.
Now, I'm really curious as to how these mid-game team fights are going to go, though. So far, Scream doing a pretty good job on the Shimoja. Getting caught out a little bit here, though.
Wild Boar coming out as Rob trying to come in. Rivers Biko going to be popped on the Kernanos. Here comes Mystic Grudge to try and survive a little bit longer. Calculator does have the kill, but will end up falling. Furball Assassinate comes in around the backside. Deco Drums trying to force him away, doing a lot of damage. Furball has the double, and they will go ahead and pick up the second kill of the fight. And Vulcan and Geb are not interested in that, so Gold Fury now going to be looked at. Destroyer Scream and Furballer as the trio going to go ahead and look as Hachiman will go ahead and tank it for the Emoja for a little bit before passing it off, and it does not look like Revenants are in the area to try and steal. Vulcan does have Earthshaker, but will not be in time. That'll be a nice early Gold Fury for the Gecko Kujo.
Yeah, Scream doing an excellent job there, just baiting his health bar and re-engaging there in mid lane, leading to a gold quadruple.
As we see another gank onto this poor Vulcan who just wants to farm down 2 levels in the ADC role, trying to get the Earthshaker, but Ayo Jutsu to escape, trying to bees away. Eagle Eye trying to find one more hit, not quite the space he needed. And the backfire will get Vulcan out of there. Loki coming around the side, blinking in, gets some good damage onto Hachiman, trying to get the kill. Will use Assassinate as Emoja does find the stun, but a little bit too late. Furball goes down as Giannis now looking for the second pickup. Calculator finds Destroyer in the mid lane. Giannis finds the second in the duo. Calculator finds a second in mid, and that will be 4 down for the Gecko Kujo, as now there's only 1 left alive, and their solo laner has to back.
Yeah, Gold Fury is good. Whole team wiping, not so much.
Unfortunately, there was just not enough HP bar to go around for everybody. Emoji healing not going to be in time. The beacon up, tier 1 mid tower gone. Tier 1 tower over in the left side also going down, as well as solo, and all the tier 1s have been wiped from Gecko Kujo's defense, and the gold advantage for the Revenants in this game number 2 soars.
Scream just going for a steal here on the Oracles. A little bit of action popping out here. A little 1v1 on the support. Oh.
Trying to get active with the help of the Raijin will be a good Cataclysm, but help of Raiju to get some good slows. Wild Hunt comes out, does find it right after the Mystic Rush, but Taiko Drum is going to keep him in place. Jay Sorvey will find the kill, but taking a lot of damage for it. Kernanos spawn very low. Thunder Crush in, but Assassinate will force out the beats and Aegis of the Raijin. Rivers Rebuke will not be successful to find the kill, but your Raijin is left alone fighting this Loki. Both falling extremely low. Thunder Crash in, and Loki has the autos. Giannis finds it. Scream picks up the return. Robin will not be good enough. Calculator finds one, looking for another. Already has it. Emoji falling very low, quarter HP. You can't handle this ADC. And El Frost will pick up one. Calculator finding another. Beansoup Bob will fall, but that will be a 2 for 3 across the map in favor of the Revenants.
Hey man, what do you do about a team that just opts to play AEC in every game? Like, especially when they're getting off to a start like the Stern has.
It looks like I see 2 tier 2 breastplates already coming out from Gecko Kujo, recognizing the crit that's already available for Calculator, looking for the Bramble Blast. Is not finding onto the Hachiman, trying to trade some autos in with Aussie and crit, doing quite a lot with the help of the Geb Shield. And now Furballer will not be balling in that 1v1, as once again Vulcan is going to catch the heat from 2. This time it's going to be the Ravana instead of the Hachiman trying to get in there with the help of Emoji coming around, but Loki is around the backside with Geb well on the way. Continues to chase down Robin, goes get the Assassinate on him, effective, finds the kill onto J-Sorvey. Now it's 3-on-1, Scream trying to run away, Riptide to get out, and just trying to escape. There is Hachiman here to try and help, but a nice knockup from Geb will get Scream a little bit further along. And Gecko Kujo will be safe for now, but not in the mid lane, as Nike, with the help of Kurnos, doing quite a fair amount of damage. Destroyer will get some help from the solo laner teleporting in the mid tower. Wild Hunt will be called, not quite on the mark. Bramble Blast will miss wide a little bit. Regin finds safety under the tower, continuing to dive. Loki going in, and Loki will blink as Giannis will pick up Destroyer in the mid, trying to find a nice kill onto effective once again. Hachiman doing some damage, finds it. Now gonna have the availability to pick up some waves and maybe rotate to stop this fight in mid. But they're gonna go ahead looks like Loki, for one, is not interested in the fight in mid anymore. Looking towards the Satchman. Spotted out, invisibility pop to try and throw him off the scent. Trying to get in there, get some extra damage. Dash will not be good for the stun. Assassinate is available.
Comes out.
Beats and Aegis is used, and that will be a death for Furballer. However, in the mid lane, it looks like Bean Soup Bob stayed for a little bit too long. Kurnos will end up falling down to Jace for a big shutdown. Ravana finally coming online as now Geb getting chased out by El Frost.
This is kind of what I was talking about earlier when I was not happy about the Robin pick into this team comp. People often forget about how much damage Loki actually does, and he is an auto-cancel god with Party Punch. Party Punch does so much extra damage.
For all those auto cancels, so far, I see 3 from the Mace tree, but no Hydra's Lament. That's not something I normally see happening on the Loki, especially since that tier 2, that charged Morningstar, is not in the Hydra's Lament tree. That is a separate tree.
Right.
So
little awkward there.
Maybe gonna look to sell the Party Punch late for that Heartseeker, or excuse me, Hydra's Lament, as Beads Aegis Force, or excuse me, Beads Forced on Destroyer from a very early assassinate coming out from Giannis. I understand why you just preemptively want to get out of dodge. Pyromancer now going to be on the receiving end of the Revenants, and it will be falling before Frost can even get there. The other side of the map, though, Primal Fury going to be pulled. They do have the Oracles for the Revenants, as Elfrost getting caught out, taking a lot of damage, forced into the World Serpent to try and escape. There's a team on the way to try and get there. The Gold Fury will not be in time. Earthshaker already down, but they do manage to try and stop the backs, and the chase is on as the Revenants continue running down, but with the help of Riptide, the extra movement speed for Gecko Kujo will get them to the safety of their tier 2 tower. Not before they take some poke for it. As once again, looks like they're looking around the corner. Revenant trying to get some damage onto this hot team. Looking at a lot of damage. Nice meatball, and Sentinel of Zeus slows him down. Cataclysm off the mark as they get out of the way. Yamoja dropping the River's Rebuke to try and get some extra damage onto the Vulcan. Mystic Rush coming in, try and secure the kill, but Nike dashing in. Destroyer finds the kill onto effective. Finally, 4-man from the Wild Hunt begins. Achman falls to Cow Killer. And a beautiful rotation from the mid laner as Yorm tries to make the difference happen. Tycho Drums forcing out the Aegis on Cow Killer, trying to get, with the help of the dash and Jace, we finally pick up Cow Killer. With some low HP bars, Loki is around the corner. Blink available. Kept trying to get in, assassinate in, picks up Jace Swervy, takes some damage from the tower, but trying to run away as Yorm now looking for the return. Blinks away to escape from the puddle, as now Yamoja, with the help of Raijin, is going to push at this Geb as Frost takes it all, and Scream will pick up the 6th kill of the game for the Gecko Kujo support, and it's just Nike left alone trying to face off against 3 and escape. But escape is not an option today as they continue chasing down. Drum gonna get the knockup, but Sentinel of Zeus is back. Raijin dashes in to stop the channeling. Will it be in time? Tycho Drums is available again, jumping away to escape from the Midgard Serpent, trying to get out, but not in time. Earthshaker not on the mark. Raijin dashing in. Destroyer has it. Finally take it out. The Beansu Bob, but Loki is already back with the help of the Vulcan, taking massive damage from the turret. And Frost will finally be forced away as Furballer will instead look to go ahead and pick up a beacon in the mid.
Oh man. I don't even know what to think of this game. It's kind of crazy.
This is just back and forth and back again. The gold lead that we saw forming for the Revenants, basically just negligible at this point. Only a couple hundred means absolutely nothing, especially at this point in the game when you're 19 minutes in. That's not even an item for one person, not even into tier 1. At best, that's a health pot for somebody. And
I
right
do
now,
want to take a look at the player damage here, though. Don't let the 7 and 3 Loki fool you. This is a Cernanos show.
it is
This man
definitely
is pumping damage.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a little bit of a clinic from Calculator here. 8-3-2, as looks like Revenants are going to look to do a little bit of damage to Fire Giant, maybe accidentally, but yeah, kept it going for a little bit longer. Bramble Blast not on the mark. Rivers of Beef coming out from Yamoja to try and help find this kill onto the Kernos. Finally, Frost will shut down Calculator, getting him out of that fight. And Yeoman going to continue to chase with the help of the World Serpent. Nike is back to the safety of their own blue buff, taking some damage. Yeoman going to be taking a lot. But Loki putting on the heat onto the Hachiman, but here comes Raijin forcing the assassinate early as now 4 chasing him down. Furballer will pick up the kill with the help of Eagle Eye. Get the extra range as Robin going in on the backline, trying to take down the Geb as Nike goes back to mid lane. A nice Earth Shaker to try and return some damage, gets some health bars a little bit lower. Continuing the aggression though, Gekko Kujo pushing, already took down the tier 1 tower. Cataclysm for 3, gets a good stun, but Geb taking a lot of damage. Tycho Drums pulled back in. Hellfrost will have the 3rd kill, make it a killing spree as the tier 2 tower now half HP, but low HP bars on the Gekko Kujo. They can't stay in for too long, but it will be just long enough to get the tower as the Revenants come rushing back to force them out as they retreat back towards the Pyromancer. Looks like they may try and steal it. Dashing in, but not in time. Gekko Kujo does steal it, but don't lazy back just yet. Nike coming in, stops the back. Origin caught unaware. Sentinel of Zeus already used beads to try and get away from the slow. Riptide to stall for a little bit longer. With a good Sunder trying to get some damage onto the Nike. Umoja is out of Omi and running away from Cow Killer. Just trying to get enough, but it is Nike caught out instead. Midgard Serpent
Your arrogance.
and to continue the chase. Umoja barely surviving. Just manages to get away from Cow Killer, and now it's Elfrost who's caught in between 4, looking to be a 5th on the way, and Yorm just has nowhere to go. Earthshaker will be effective enough for the kill. Effective getting credited for that one.
Oh man, I'd like to see. I don't know, I'm not really sure what I'd like to see here. I think Gekko Kujo has the right idea though. They realized that CERN is the primary issue, and it showed in the previous team fight.
They definitely recognize where a lot of the damage is coming from, but unfortunately, they're just not quite able to get enough damage to secure some of these kills. And that goes for both sides. The slight gold lead that we saw forming for the Revenants, now leaning the way of Gekko Kujo by a couple thousand now, almost 3,000. Gold Fury and Fire Giant are available, but neither team really in a good position to pull one. Where do you think the changing point is?
What do you think about this Aegis pickup on Nike?
Looks like it will actually be a Gold Fury for the Wailing Banshees. And Aegis on Nike is an option, I suppose. It is certainly an item. What's also interesting, Beansoup Bob, 2nd item on that prophetic, having more stacks than Ryukirk with the 1st item prophetic. That can't be feeling great.
Little awkward there. You know, I don't think prophetic's the go-to, especially when all you have is prophetic and Thebes.
Loki doing a lot of poke with the 2, trying to get around the back. Robin does find the stun, will force out the assassinate. Umoja taking a lot of damage, already less than half HP, gets caught in the middle. Effective finds the kill. Scream does try and drop Rivers of Beak to try and escape. Here comes the Earthshaker as well as the Sentinel of Zeus forces out the World Serpent to try and escape. As now the gas pedal is hit by the Wailing Banshees, finds a nice double stun with the help of Cataclysm. Trying to continue running away, but Loki is here to try and get some damage. Dash away from the Hachiman to try and get back to the mid lane. The damage and poke from Destroyer will convince Loki he doesn't want the kill that bad. So instead, Wailing Banshees will go back towards the Fire Giant as Loki continues playing the poke game. Having that Crusher, Heartseeker, and upgraded Bluestone Pendant, it'll be more than effective enough. Looking at the Fire Giant, it's already half HP. Yorm TV's around the back. They don't know he's there. Does get a nice double knockup, trying to take out the Geb, falling very low. Fire Giant will go down. Revenant secure it. There is no steal to be had this time around. Blinks in, not be successful. Jay Swervy just gets obliterated for it. Furballer picked out by Giannis, and this went from bad to worse. Loki continuing the dive, trying to do a lot more damage on to this poor Umoja, forced away by the wall, not able to get into the Riptide. Calculator finds 1, effective finds the 3rd, make it a killing spree, and the 4th death for the Gekko Kujo. Now it's just Destroyer left alive for 30 seconds. and it's still tier 2 towers left up on the side lanes, but Nike diving in, doing a lot of damage with the help of Cow Killer. Gonna go ahead, take down the mid Phoenix, does get the Aegis out of the Raijin, but it looks like they got what they came for. They don't have quite enough damage to go for the end just yet. Instead, the beacon is finally gonna be looked at now 25.5 minutes in.
Oh man, the this is definitely an interesting one here, Jerry. You know, so Loki does opt to go in serrated here instead of Hydras for his last item.
Looking to get even more of that ability damage, and in fact, actually overcapping on that percent pen, having not 10, not 20, not 30, not 40, not 50, but now 60% pen, 20 each from Titan's Bane and the Serrated, and then another 10 each for the Crusher and the Heartseeker. The Loki is definitely looking to shred any tanks that appear, but unfortunately, you don't quite get the benefit of all that pen. The power, though, still gonna feel nice.
Let's see how this
Loki
next
waiting around the
engagement
corner,
goes.
looking
This is a
at
dangerous
Destroyer.
spot
He
to be
doesn't
in.
know. Assassinates in, does force the beads. Dash already down. Tycho Drums being forced out. He still have HP. Meanwhile, Loki is perfectly fine, full HP. Baits out all that resources for just the ult. And Destroyer now trying to lazy back, does finally manage to get out just in the nick of time, as Titan will be falling already under half HP for Gecko Kujo. And time is running out. Fire Giant around all 5 belts for the Revenants. Ravana does have plenty of shield, but it will be taken off in an instant by the backfire. Nike dashing in for the engage. Yomi does find a knock-up to try and get some return with the help of the Rob. But Raijin once again getting caught out by the Loki. Aegis will be available this time, and Mystic Rush coming out. With the help of Timeline, Giannis will get picked instead. J-Swerve, he gets the return. Tried to escape the Geb, trying to get in there close enough. Finds the Cataclysm, does find the knockup. Hachiman trying to get the damage out. Raijin barely escaping. Meanwhile, Titan still pushing up with the help of Cow Killer. But now the 2 tanks for Gecko Kujo turning onto him, dropping the Sunder. River's Beak already used. Aegis is going to be forced out. Wild Hunt comes out, but not in time. Cow Killer falling down to El Frost as the Titan beating away at the right Phoenix. But Robin going all food, Muda on to this poor Geb, trying to escape. Rollout will not be successful. J-Swerve picks up Ryukerd, and that will be a complete engage and gas pedal for the Gecko Kujo. Titan still taking some damage from the minions, but right lane is safe and dashing in. Vulcan gets caught out, trying to drop the Earthshaker for some return damage. Will not be enough. Mystic Rush help Destroyer get the kill. 5-man Sentinel of Zeus for a big slow, but Beansuit Bob is caught in the middle of 5. They are a little bit low, but that is way too much damage. Trying to do whatever he can to stall for time. Continues trying to run away. Loki is on the way, but taking so much damage as Gecko Kujo continue chasing down all of them less than half. Loki finally comes in, turns it around. Bob finds a kill on the Destroyer, falling very low. Giannis picks up Furballer. Emoji is still left here as Nike continues going back in. Still quarter HP though, but all of them falling very low. Loki is trying to go into the invisibility, gets some good poke onto the arm, trying to find the Emoji with the help of Nike. Getting some good knockups, but a good stun from Emoji from the Moonlight. Be very good. Loki finally finds the kill on the Scream, who will inevitably fall. Yorm trying to sneak around the back and escape safely. Barely avoids notice, and complete disaster on the chase for Nike.
If you're Gecko Kujo, you gotta be careful here. This is the part of the game where Loki is the most dangerous. You come around a corner with 5 health bars underneath 50%, there's a good chance he can just penta your whole team with a good assassinate.
And we saw already the damage coming out in the mid lane, trying to get the mid Phoenix already forced into the World Serpent. Elfrost trying to run away. J-Sorby trying to get out, but Nike forcing him back in. Cow Killer doing plenty of damage. Rykard picks up the kill. And there's nowhere to run. Cow Killer finds 2. Now, finally a return for Furballer, but will not be successful enough. Rykard does end up falling, but Giannis has the last one. 2 seconds for Scream to come back, but the Solo and Jungle are here with the help of Fire Minions in the mid. There comes the Rover's Rebuke to try and stall for some time, trying to get some damage on the Loki. Will be good. Already down to quarter HP, falling very low. Scream picks it up. Giannis dropped in the 1v2, but Scream can only do so much without any Omi Earthshaker to do some damage. And Titan will continue healing because Bizu up had to drop it. Vulcan tries to pick it back up, but can't. This Umoja just stalling for so much time. Scream doing a beautiful job. Double stun. Trying to continue waiting for the teammates, but 15 seconds left. And finally falls. Beansu Bob gets the Diaz side, and it's just them and Titan. Sentinel of Zeus to stall a little bit longer with the help of fire minions. Effective trying to go for the end with the help of the turret. J-Sorvey finally coming back up, dropping in, doing a lot of damage. Beans just already forced Rivers being not available without
man.
Scream, but finds the Mystic Rush. J-Sorvey finally picks up effective, and the stalling was just good enough from Scream. And now Raijin doing some return damage onto Nike will fall in the middle of the jump, and the stall will be good as Gecko Kujo survives. Titan half HP and Fire Giant now up.
I will say, for future reference, keep an eye on Scream's Umoja. He's done a phenomenal job on that pick this game.
This
Yeah, you
has
gotta-
just been so back and forth. Every advantage turns into disaster every time. But now finally, it's Gecko Kujo pulling the Fire Giant, dropping already a quarter of its HP gone, but Calculator is there looking for the Bramble Bass, trying to get some extra damage, but here comes Yom to try and force something out. Wild Hunt will be good to try and do something, but not good enough. Fire Giant falling very low. Mystic Rush in to try and get it. Stolen away by the Geb. Knock up Loki around the back to do damage. Resorby finally picks up Calculator, but Yamoja is here to help the backline, stoling out this Loki as Geb finds the kill on the Destroyer and steals away not only the Fire Giant, but your mid laner's life for it. Loki coming around the back looking for the Hachiman as Geb stalls. Get some good poke on the Emoji, trying to go in. Assassinate will be caught. It will be responded to by the mounted archery as Rivers Beat comes out, but right into the arms of Bean Suit Bob. Giannis gets there in time, finally picks up Furballer. El Frost was here to try and help. Now with J-Sorvey, it's 2v3. Vulcan well on the way. They do have Fire Giant Center good to try and get rid of some of the shield, but Rav taking a lot of damage. Emoja is now here. Scream trying to stall for time. Bomb dropped on the Phoenix, taking a lot of damage as J-Sorvey is first forced to back. El Frost trying to defend the bird, but not successful. It's 4 on there, and the Loki is just doing so much poke as they continue diving at El Frost. Earthshaker will not be on the mark. Titan half HP as they walk into the throne room confidently. They have the Fire Giant. They can do it. They're dropping Titan very low, already less than 2,000 HP, and they will do it. Revenants take it into...
Oh man, that is some crazy stuff.
Despite all the greatest efforts from Scream stalling 1v2 on the Titan to Elfrost trying to disrupt the backline as much as physically possible, to all of the damage from Destroyer and Furballer, it would not be enough. And finally, Gecko Kujo will fall. That was a beautiful play from them to try and make something happen, but unfortunately for them, the Revenants will just be doing a little bit too much damage, especially with the help of Let Me Eat Giannis and Cow Killer having the Loki and the Karnanos in the mid lane, respectively, both of them dropping 44,000 player damage, completely cleaning out the next closest in the lobby at 34. A beautiful performance from both of them.
I do want to talk about these heavy awards come out of Loki. Though. Look at that, 0 awards. 0 awards out of
As-
Vulcan.
It's definitely a unseemly sight for them, but Ryukirk, as their support, going to go ahead and pick up the slack with 15, highest in this lobby for game number 2. And I gotta say, that was truly a beautiful play from Scream, stalled for so much time to keep that Titan alive as long as physically possible, literally fighting the world and the fire minions that were pouring down to try and make something happen for the team. But unfortunately for the Gecko Kujo, they will end up falling. Now 1-1 for their season, while the Revenants continue on 2-0, undefeated in the first 2 weeks after a very well-fought Week 2 match. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end for Gecko Kujo. Don't worry though, there will still be plenty more action coming up next week, as Week 3 is going to be starting up here very shortly, as we're getting into it now. don't you worry, as plenty of games will be coming your way. And we hope to see you back on the Quack and Smite League channel for another cast here soon. Don't forget about the podcast as well. I've been your host for tonight, Jiren Lamb. I've been joined by the Berry Toppings.
Absolutely. And as you said, all good things must come to an end, just like this stream.
Just a special shout out to Buckwheat for pressing the buttons for us, bringing this all to you live. We do appreciate the efforts of our streamers. It's always a very valuable thing. But thank you all so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed. That was quite a lot of fun to cast, quite the games. But I hope you all have a wonderful night, and we'll see you all next time.